Welcome back to James English. I'm Jayz.
And I'm Amy, episode 32, May 2nd.
And today, mornings again.
We did mornings in episode 2, Jayz at 6 a.m., hand-ground coffee, cold water, already fully functional me with my 3 snoozes.
The situation has not changed, I should report.
It really hasn't. But today is different from episode 2. In April, we described what we do in the morning. In May, we go deeper. We talk about why our routines are what they are, how they've changed, what we've tried, what we've given up, the English of my life these days.
Because one of the most natural things people talk about in English, in casual conversations at the start of meetings with new friends, is their daily life. How things are going, what their days look like, what's changed recently.
And this kind of English, the English of describing your ongoing life rather than specific situations, requires a slightly different suquet.
More nuance, more tenses, more personal, more real.
Today we build that suquet using mornings as the starting point because everyone has one. Everyone has a relationship with how their day begins, and talking about it reveals who you are.
Let's start. The language of habit and routine, because morning routines are habits, and English has beautiful, specific ways of describing habits.
I tend to. One of the most useful phrases for describing personal habits. I tend to wake up around 7. I tend to eat breakfast at my desk. I tend to leave the house in a bit of a rush. Tend to is softer than always. It means usually, generally, by default.
I usually, similar to, send is slightly more casual. I usually have coffee before I do anything else. It's basically a medical requirement at this point.
I've started. Describing a new habit. I started drinking warm water in the morning. I know I'm becoming a different person. I've started plus the activity, plus sometimes a self-aware comment about the change.
I've been trying to. A habit you're working to establish, not fully there yet. I've been trying to wake up earlier. Some days it works. The trying acknowledges the gap between intention and reality. Very human, very relatable.
I can't seem to. A habit you're trying to break or establish but struggling with. I can't seem to stop checking my phone first thing. Seemed adds helplessness that's charming rather than defeated.
I've given up trying to, surrendered on a goal. I've given up trying to be a morning person. I think it's genetic, honest, funny, and extremely relatable.
It depends on, your routine varies based on circumstances. It depends on whether I have an early meeting. If I do, I'm up by 7. If not, it's more like 8:30.
On a good day versus on a bad day. The two versions of any routine. On a good day, I'm at my desk by 8:30, coffee in hand, completely ready. On a bad day, I'm still in my pajamas at 10, wondering where the morning went.
Describing how things have changed because routine evolve, and talking about that evolution is rich conversational territory.
My routine has changed a lot since, marking a turning point. My routine has changed a lot since I started working from home, since I moved to a new city, since I stopped commuting.
These days contrasting the present with an implied past. These days I try to get outside first thing. I didn't used to bother. These days positions you in the present and implies evolution.
I didn't used to. Past habit that no longer continues. I didn't used to eat breakfast at all. I thought skipping it was fine. I didn't used to need coffee. That was a decade ago.
I've gotten into the habit of. A habit that developed over time. I've gotten into the habit of making a proper breakfast on Sundays. It started during a long locked time and just stuck.
It's become a bit of a ritual, a repeated action that has taken on personal significance. My morning coffee has become a bit of a ritual. I grind the beans by hand. I use the same cup. I sit in the same spot. It's 10 minutes that belong entirely to me.
I swear by recommending something you're convinced works. I swear by a glass of cold water first thing, before coffee, before food, before my phone. It completely changes how I feel. Swear by is a strong endorsement from personal experience.
I'm a creature of habit, a phrase we used in episode 2, but now let's unpack it. Creature of habit. Someone who does the same things the same way consistently. Not a criticism often said with self-awareness and even pride. I'm a complete creature of habit in the mornings. Don't change anything. Don't talk to me. Just let me have my coffee. Let me describe my current morning routine, and I'm going to use as many of today's phrases as naturally as possible.
Go ahead.
So these days my alarm goes off at 6. On a good day, I'm up immediately. Cold water on the face, that sort of thing. On a bad day, I'm awake at 6, but horizontal until 6:20, doing nothing, thinking about nothing, which I've started to think of as productive actually. A kind of empty buffer before the day.
I love that. A kind of empty buffer.
I've been trying to not touch my phone until after my first coffee. Some days that works. Other days I'm on it before I've even left bed, and the day has a slightly worse quality to it. I can feel the difference. I tend to grind the beans by hand. It's become a bit of a ritual, honestly. The sound and the smell and the 5 minutes it takes, I swear by it. My routine has changed since I moved to the current apartment. I have a balcony now, and on good weather mornings I take my first cup outside. That's new, and I'm not giving it up.
That was wonderful, full of today's vocabulary and completely natural. On a bad day, I'm horizontal until 6:20. Some days that works. I can feel the difference. I'm not giving it up.
Your turn. Give me your morning.
Okay, honestly, I didn't used to have any routine at all. I'd wake up whenever, do whatever, be out the door when I was ready. That was in my early 20s, and I was both more spontaneous and more chaotic.
Ha!
These days, I tend to wake up around 7:30. I can't seem to manage earlier than that no matter how hard I try. I've given up trying to be a 6 a.m. person. That's Jay's life, not mine. I started making tea first, not coffee, tea, which is a recent change and I'm still not sure how it happened. And I've gotten into the habit of spending 15 minutes before I open any work or messages just sitting with my sketchbook, drawing nothing in particular. It depends on the day whether anything useful comes of it, but it depends even more on the day whether I've done it or not. I'm much better when I have.
I'm much better when I have. That's the most honest assessment of a routine habit anyone can give.
It really is, because that's what makes a routine worth keeping, not discipline, the felt difference.
The vocabulary of sleep, because mornings begin the night before.
I slept well. I slept terribly. I barely slept. I was out like a light. Out like a light, fell asleep immediately, deeply. I hit the pillow and I was out like a light.
I couldn't get off to sleep. Couldn't fall asleep. I kept waking up, waking repeatedly through the night. I had a restless night. Restless, not peaceful. Moving a lot, not deeply rested.
I overslept, slept longer than intended, missed an alarm. I didn't sleep a wink. The briefest moment of sleep, didn't sleep a wink, didn't sleep at all. I'm running on about 4 hours.
Running on. Operating with only, I'm running on coffee and stubbornness. Very common expression for managing on minimal sleep or resources.
I'm not a morning person. Strongly prefer evenings, very widely understood. I'm more of a night owl. Night owl, someone who stays up late and functions better at night, opposite. Early bird, someone who wakes early and is productive in the morning.
The early bird catches the worm. A proverb meaning those who start early have an advantage. I know the early bird catches the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. Ha, that second one is the wry response.
That's very Jay's.
I've been sitting on that for 32 episodes.
Describing energy levels in the morning because this is such common small talk territory.
I'm not properly awake until you need time or something specific before you're functional. I'm not properly awake until I've had my first coffee. I'm not properly awake until I've had a shower. Properly, genuinely, fully.
I need a minute. Don't talk to me yet. I'm still arriving, said with humor. Give me 5 minutes and I'll be human.
I hit the ground running, immediately productive and energetic from the start of the day. I prefer to hit the ground running. I do my best work in the first 3 hours.
I warm up slowly. Takes time to reach full productivity. The opposite of hitting the ground running. I'm slow to warm up in the mornings. The first hour is mostly just remembering who I am.
Ha! I'm full of energy in the mornings. I'm at my best first thing. The mornings are when I get everything important done. Morning person declared and owned.
I'm useless until noon. Don't ask me anything important before 10. My brain starts working around midday. Night owl, owned without apology.
Both are valid, both have specific English vocabulary. Now you can describe yours precisely. Role play 2 colleagues meeting at the start of a workday.
I'll be the morning person, ready. Morning, you're here early.
Ha! Early is relative. I've been awake since 5:30. Actually, couldn't get back to sleep after that.
Oh, no, rough night.
A bit restless, nothing specific, just one of those nights where your brain decides it has things to do. I'm running on about 4 hours and enormous coffee.
I had the opposite. I was out like a light at 10 and woke up feeling genuinely good. I can't tell you why. It doesn't feel like I did anything differently.
That's the most infuriating kind of good night's sleep. When it's random, you can't retucket it.
Ha, true. Are you okay for the 10 o'clock?
I'll be properly awake by then. Give me another 30 minutes and a second coffee and I'll be fine.
Let's unpack. Nothing specific, just one of those nights where your brain decides it has things to do. That phrase, your brain decides it has things to do, is a warm, slightly humorous way of describing anxiety or busy mind, insomnia, without being heavy about it.
Running on 4 hours and an enormous coffee, running on, surviving with only enormous, very large, self-deprecating, and relatable.
Out like a light at 10. Fell asleep immediately at 10, feeling genuinely good. Genuinely amplifies the feeling. This is real, not just okay.
That's the most infuriating kind of good night's sleep, when it's random. Observation that turns a personal experience into a shared, relatable truth.
And I'll be properly awake by then. Properly, fully, genuinely. Give me another 30 minutes. Buying time with good humor.
Amy, I want to go deeper on something. The phrase, these days, because it's deceptively powerful and I don't think learners use it enough.
These days. Yes, it does so much work in a single phrase.
These days positions you in the present, but it implies a contrast with some other time. You're not just describing what you do, you're describing what you do now as distinct from some earlier version of yourself.
These days I wake up at 7, versus just, I wake up at 7. The first version suggests, this is who I've become. The second just states a fact.
And it opens an immediate conversational door because when you say, these days, the listener naturally wonders, what about before? What changed?
Which is an invitation to a more interesting conversation than, I wake up at 7.
Let me show the range of what these days can carry. These days I'm much better at protecting my mornings. Improvement over time. These days I work from cafes more than home. A lifestyle shift. These days I barely drink coffee. A significant habit change that surprises even the speaker.
And the version that acknowledges a complicated relationship with change. These days I try. Some days I manage it.
I try, and some days I manage it, the most honest description of any routine that isn't fully established, not lying, not performing discipline, just, I try, which is the most relatable thing a person can say.
In English, admitting that you try, and sometimes succeed, sometimes don't, is completely acceptable, respectable even. It shows self-awareness.
Compared to, I meditate for 30 minutes every morning. Clean and impressive, but if it's not consistently true, it creates a false image. Versus, I've been trying to meditate in the mornings. Some days it happens. True, humble, and much more interesting to talk about.
Because the trying is where we all actually live, not in the achievement, in the ongoing attempt.
And English has beautiful phrases for the ongoing attempt. I'm working on it. I'm getting there. It's coming along. I'm making progress. Some days are better than others.
All of these say the same thing. I'm in the process. Not finished, not failed, in the process.
And process, in English conversation, is infinitely more interesting than arrival.
Because process is where the story lives.
Vocabulary for talking about what you've changed or are trying to change.
I've cut back on, reduced something. I've cut back on coffee down to 2 a day. Cut back, reduce the amount or frequency.
I've started making time for, deliberately creating space for something. I've started making time for a proper breakfast. It makes a real difference. Making time, prioritizing something that didn't naturally fit before.
I'm trying to be better about working to improve a habit. I'm trying to be better about getting enough sleep. I know I need it. The implementation is the challenge.
I've noticed that when observation linking habit to outcome. I've noticed that when I exercise in the morning, the whole day feels different. I'm sharper, less reactive. This is excellent conversation language, sharing an insight from your own experience.
It makes a real difference. This habit genuinely changes something. It's made a real difference to my mornings. A simple, direct endorsement.
I'm still figuring out. Not there yet, but working on it. I'm still figuring out the right time to eat. My body and my schedule don't always agree.
It's a work in progress. Openly, in development, not complete. My morning routine is a work in progress. Every few months, something shifts. One more area I want to cover, the English of the weekend morning versus the weekday morning, because these are often dramatically different and English speakers talk about this contrast constantly.
Weekday mornings versus weekend mornings, two completely different experiences for most people.
On weekdays, I'm up by 7, alarm, straight into it, no time to think. Versus, on weekends, I wake up naturally, which is usually around 8, but sometimes 9 if I'm honest, and the whole pace is just different.
I wake up naturally, without an alarm, a small luxury. I let myself wake up naturally on Sundays, giving yourself permission.
I have a slow start, deliberately unhurried. I like a slow start on Saturdays, coffee in bed, no rush. Slow start as a positive choice.
I potter about. British expression meaning to move around at home without specific purpose. Pottering, gentle, unhurried activity. I potter about the flat for a bit before I feel ready to engage with the world. Completely charming.
I do my own thing in the mornings. The mornings belong to you without obligation to others. I'm quite protective of my weekend mornings. I do my own thing until at least 10.
A lazy morning. A morning with minimal activity enjoyed rather than wasted. We had a lazy morning, didn't leave the house until noon, said fondly, not apologetically.
I meet a proper breakfast. A more elaborate, deliberate meal as opposed to a rushed weekday breakfast. On Sundays, I always make a proper breakfast. Proper, deserving the name. A real breakfast, not something eaten standing up over the sink.
And the weekend morning lie, in British term for sleeping later than usual. I had a lovely lion this morning. Lovely lion, one of the most deeply satisfying phrases in English. The combination of lovely and lion captures something very specific about the pleasure of not being anywhere you have to be.
I want to live inside that phrase.
Ha! A lovely lie. In. Come for the English lesson. Stay for the lifestyle.
The contrast between weekday and weekend mornings, that tension, that rhythm, is one of the most relatable human experiences, and having the English to describe it means you can connect with people over it instantly.
Do you have a slow start on weekends, or are you one of those people who gets up early regardless?
One of those people, affectionate but mildly bewildered, said by a non-morning person about a morning person.
I am one of those people. I have made peace with it.
We all make our choices, lightning round morning and routine vocabulary.
Ready.
You wake up the same way every day by choice.
I am a complete creature of habit in the mornings. Same alarm, same order, same cup. Don't change anything.
A new habit you started recently.
I've started going for a short walk before breakfast. Just 15 minutes. I've noticed it completely changes how I feel for the rest of the day.
You slept badly.
Rough night, I kept waking up. I'm running on about 4 hours, and I'm not quite human yet. Give me till 10.
Something you're working to change.
I've been trying to stop looking at my phone first thing. Some mornings I manage it, others I'm on it before I've even sat up properly.
Your routine has changed recently.
These days I work from home most mornings, which has completely changed how I start the day. I didn't used to have any separation between getting up and getting to work. Now I build in a bit of a buffer.
You recommend something strongly from personal experience.
I swear by cold water first thing, before coffee, before anything. It sounds annoying, but I genuinely notice the difference.
Every one of those, natural, specific, and genuinely interesting.
Homework. Describe your morning routine in English. Use at least 5 of today's phrases. Try to include what you tend to do, something you've recently changed, and one thing you've noticed makes a difference.
Write it as if you're telling a friend over coffee. Casual. Real yours.
Post it in the comments. We want to read your mornings.
And if you've been following since episode 2, think about how your description of your morning has changed between April and May. More depth, more nuance, more yours.
That's the difference a month makes.
Tomorrow, EP32. What's for breakfast? Food habits, food culture, and the English of how we eat and why.
Which I've been looking forward to since we planned this month. Let's learn, speak, and grow together. See you tomorrow.
Me too. See you tomorrow.